Hello there, welcome back to Planet Zoo and welcome back to Opal Zoo, our heavily themed zoo. Thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you're having a good day, and yeah, I hope you're keen to get on and see what I've got planned next in the zoo. So in the last episode I finished off the Australia area over here, and I was very happy with how it all turned out. I got the animals in, the correct animals, because I did make a bit of a mistake with them. I put dolls in instead of dingoes, but the dingoes are in now, as are the kangaroos and the how do you pronounce these? I never quite get it right. Cassowary, let's go with that. So yes, so here we go. So this is the Australia area and it's all done. And the next area that I'm going to be working on is next door, and it's over here, and it's South America. And as you can see, I have made a small start already by making a large pile of mossy rocks. So my plan for this area is essentially this is the central piece of the whole zone. So this is going to be covered in waterfalls, so it's going to be water coming out the top here and sort of cascading all the way down to the bottom, where there's going to be obviously sort of a lake around this with several small bits of river, I think, probably coming off, and then the rest of this is going to be split up into 4 zones, or four habitats at least. And that is going to contain, where are we? South America. It's going to have the beds, tapir, the Cuvier's dwarf caiman, the giant anteaters, and the jaguars. So there's going to be, I'll probably doing a path that's going to come roughly along the edge here as a kind of a main viewing platform, I guess. It's going to ring around the area like this. But then I'm also going to have a smaller path that splits off and actually sort of like a raised jungle walkway, and that's going to snake around inside here probably, and then eventually meet up again with the main path over here. That's kind of my plan, and as you can see, I've made a small start. It's going to be quite a big project, this one. There's going to be a lot of detail, and my idea with this is that I want it to look very overgrown and jungly. So it's just going to be completely covered, basically, with plants and trees and you know, anything I can think of. Obviously, stick into the theme of sort of jungle. Making sure that the appropriate greenery is in there. So certainly the Jaguar Habitat, which is probably going to be the main habitat over in this corner here, I think. That one is going to be very overgrown because the jaguars are quite shy creatures and they like to be hidden in the undergrowth. But what I might do in the other ones, the other 3 habitats over here, they might end up being a little bit less jungly. I think mainly, I guess because the animals themselves aren't as shy, but also certainly with the dwarf caiman, they're so small. If I design their enclosure in the same way as I'm planning on doing the jaguars, you'll just never see them. So I've got to make sure that the viewing public could actually see the animals. So yeah, so that's the plan. And I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into it. So let me go away and do a bit more, and I will come back to you in just a moment and explain what's going on. Right, so just a quick update. I just wanted to show you what I've managed to do with the water. Now I think this looks pretty cool. Obviously there's a lot of work still to do, lots of foliage still to go on. But it's a bit of a struggle in this game to try and get waterfalls to look decent. Trying to get the right combination and the right angles, all different pieces. But so what I've done here, I've just used this piece, which is the what is it, waterfall middle section. Yeah, waterfall midsection, this one. And just sunk them in amongst the rocks basically. So it's pretty simple, but I think that looks pretty cool. I think once it's covered in in foliage, and the water is also around the bottom, I think it will create the effect that I'm after. Still debating whether I want anything at the top here to sort of represent where the water's coming from, but I might not. I might just leave it like it is. I think it kind of works. Now what I've also done is I've purposely, as you can see, put one out here and created that as part of the building connected to all of these, and that's because once you've sunk all these things in, it is a nightmare to highlight them again to actually to do some editing on the group. So if a little hint for you, if you're doing this, just put one out here somewhere. So if you want to access all of these, you don't have to keep moving the rocks to try and find them. You can just click on the one that's out to the side there. So yeah, so I just wanted to give you that quick update, just to show you my progress. Seeing as this obviously is the central piece of this whole area, I wanted you to kind of see my thought process and what I do as I go along, yeah, that took me a while. Let me tell you, that took me a little while to get the water just in the right place. You know, I didn't just randomly dot them. I really did try and think about where the water would flow, and you know, as much as possible, try to make it look realistic. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that is looking now. But obviously a lot more to do, so I'm going to go away again and do some more. Not done more to our central rock formation here, but what I wanted to show you was my plan for the 4 habitats. And obviously I've put the water in, so there you've got a small bit of sort of a pond around the outside here of the rocks, and then you've got these small streams just coming off and sort of meandering through each of the habitats. And then obviously I've just put these habitat walls in to show the rough shape of the habitats. Obviously there'll be no brick in the final product. It'll be a wire mesh fence probably, but yeah, so that's the rough idea and shape of what it's going to look like. So this habitat here, I kind of think this is the main one, because this is where the main path is going to go around the outside here. So this was going to be the jaguars, I think, in this one. And then the other ones will probably be the tapir here. I think this one will have the dwarf caiman in it, and then this one is going to be the giant anteaters. That's the rough plan, I think. The reason I've chosen this one for the dwarf caiman is because of the amount of water that's in it. I think that kind of makes sense that they would have the most water. Yeah, so there we go. So that's kind of my plan. This is I'm having a lot of fun with this, but it's going to be a major project, and yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to getting stuck into the foliage side of it, because it's going to look really overgrown. I'm quite looking forward to just how overgrown I can get it without it looking a bit you know, too cramped, but we shall see. So let me head off. Not sure what I'm going to do next. Maybe some more work on the middle piece. Depends what takes my fancy. We shall see. But yeah, let me go away and get on with some more. Yes, this time. So let me show you what I've done. As you can see, I have changed the fencing, so it's going to be this. This is the electric fence, isn't it? I've forgotten already. Yeah, the electric fence, isn't it? Yeah, electric. So that's yeah, that's the fencing. I thought that made the most sense. It looks good. You can see through it. I can cover it up with a lot of foliage, and it's realistic, because obviously you wouldn't want things like the jaguars being able to escape. So yeah. So I've also put in the pathway. That's the basic layout of the pathway, coming up around the back here, just raised up a tiny bit there, so that you're kind of, as you walk along here, you are looking down into the enclosures. I kind of like that. As you can see, I have got 2 jaguars in here now as well. I was just doing that to sort of test it out, just to make sure that they were safe in there and had plenty of room. And then I've started some decorating. So for anyone that's watched my other videos, you'll see that I've done this before. I did a Jaguar enclosure in one of my zoos. I can't remember which one it was. Was it Waverley Zoo? No, it wasn't Waverley Zoo. I think it was my first zoo. I think it was Green Valley Zoo. I did a Jaguar enclosure. It was very similar in that I made it very jungly. And I used these pieces, these large square pieces, along the riverbed, and I thought it looked really cool. So I've continued that along here. And I'm just experimenting a bit around the outside with this foliage. So you see what I've done here. I've gone through the foliage and I've picked out all the different things that I want to use in this area. So this is all South American themed stuff, and it's good. This is going to give me a really good choice. Lots of variety here, and when they all, when they're all put together, it's going to look really nice and jungly, I think. So you'll see what I mean along the edge here. So I'm just filling it up, basically. There's no gaps, just coming along, just dotting stuff in, cramming stuff together. You've got stuff growing up through other things. So all of the edge is going to look like that, nice and filled in. I may leave the odd gap between the habitats, but largely I will continue the foliage coming all the way along these barriers here as well. And then obviously all the middle is going to be very similar. There's going to be some sort of structure here, I think, and obviously some enrichment. And there will be some more open areas, but on the whole it's going to be very jungly like this. And it's very helpful just having all of this over here. I'd highly recommend, if you're building a large enclosure, do this. Have your options out here set aside, so you're not constantly just having to scroll through your options here. You can just just click on that and then duplicate it, plop them down where you want, and then go back and choose another one. It's a really simple technique that I've come to love and use quite regularly now. So that's where I'm up to, and I think this is going to look very nice. Actually, I'm very excited about this. Oh yes, I've also done a little bit of work on this middle section here. I wanted a natural cave for the jaguars to go into, so I've moved some of the rocks around here, created this sort of small flat area at the front, and then I just deleted a couple of rocks and it opened up beautifully inside. So I just put down a floor of rocks and some bedding. I've left the ceiling as it is, so you can see it's just a big rocky cave. Obviously some of the barriers poke through here, but I'm not fussed about that. And as you can see, the jaguars come inside and sleep, and that's I love that. I mean, I've purposely left the water pouring down at the front here as well, so it looks like and even inside here there's a bit of water. Just it looks really natural, doesn't it? Like, look at that, the jaguar coming out from his cave through the waterfall. I really like how that's turned out. So yeah, very happy about that. Yeah, I was pretty chuffed when I came up with that idea. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm pretty proud of that. It's a very simple thing, but I wasn't planning on it straight away. It was just a little idea I had, and it turned out really nice. So yeah, very pleased with that. Right, but as you can see, still a lot more to do. And I think what I'll do is I will do sort of habitat at a time. So I am going to work on this Jaguar enclosure first. And the amount that I'm doing here, that may well take me up to the end of this video, and then I will continue on with these other ones in another episode. But we shall see. Let me crack on and see what I can get done. Quick update here. Well, as you can see, I put a small bridge in here for the keepers. It occurred to me the keepers couldn't actually get to this island, and in fact they couldn't get around to this area over here either, because of the foliage that I've been putting along the edge here. So I put these rocks down here and here so that the keepers can come and go. And I've also that was so bad. Oh, the graphics do make me laugh on this sometimes. They're brilliant, of course they are, but some of the climbing for these cats can be quite comical. Anyway, so yes, so I built them a structure, a very simple wooden structure in the middle here. You see this sort of thing all the time in big cat enclosures. I have put them a bed at the top here, and they can use it. It says they can use it. They can even climb on top, but so far I've not seen them come up here. they come up onto this area here. I don't think I've ever seen them come up to this top level. So yeah, I don't know. They may use it, they may not. It may be because I've got their cave over here with the bedding in, that they simply will never use this bed because that one's more suitable to their needs. Possibly, I'm not really sure. Obviously, how the programming works with that sort of thing. But for the sake of making it look good and a bit of realism, you know, there'd be a couple of areas where they could sleep, probably. So yeah, it's there. Whether they use it or not, I don't know. But you know, it looks good. So I'm happy with it. That's fine. Now, obviously, I'm just still experimenting a bit here. I was just theorising with the idea of putting bracken, sort of lining the water, but it doesn't look good. It looks too repetitive, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, so that's the only structure that I'm going to put into this habitat. The rest of it now, I'm just going to be building up the foliage, basically all around the edge, and obviously this area over here, and then I need to get some enrichment in as well. Lots of bigger things, so some of these trees obviously need to come in here too. So yeah, still lots to do. So let me go away and crack on with it. Okay, I have made quite a lot of progress now. So it's starting to look more like a jungle, and I'm really liking it so far. It's really coming along how I wanted it to look. So as you can see, as you come in here, you've got lots of greenery, nice variety of different things. Oh, look at that, you've even got a plant flying in the air there. I'll have to sort that out. You know, you've got plants in the water. The water itself is really nice and overgrown. You've got all this lovely bracken down the side here. You've got these lovely big, what are these things? A pure plant? I don't know. It looks like a yucca. You know, it's a cool cacti type thing. Just a real variety, and a lot of this is very random, and you just grab your different plants and plonk them down. It's not overly scientific, I'll be honest. Certain things like the trees, they're placed fairly carefully. Put a bit of enrichment up on here as well, just to try and encourage the animals to actually come up on here, and they come up to this one certainly. Haven't seen them come up to this one yet, but that's fine. So yeah, and I love these giant rhubarbs. Look at them. I mean, they're just fantastic plants. They really are. I have one myself, but it's nowhere near that size. They can grow to this size in England, but they need to be quite well established, and they need just the right conditions. And my one that I have in my garden, it's not too happy yet, and it's certainly nowhere near this size. But maybe one day, maybe I'll have to replant it in a new position, and then it will grow to the size where you can walk underneath the leaves. It's always my plan. We shall see. Anyway, so obviously I've still not finished. I've dotted a couple of bits of enrichment over here as well. So obviously the idea here is that I leave some good viewing space here so that people can actually see these enrichment items being used. Obviously I don't want it too overgrown at this side. I've put some bits like this sort of raised up, but I want to make sure there's plenty of areas like this that are open so you can actually see into the enclosure, because you know, there's no point having an enclosure that's so overgrown that you can't see the animals. But I kind of like this because, you know, there are animals in there, but you can't really see them. You know, and then that's exactly what it's like in real life when you go to a zoo. I've been to our local zoos many times, and there's some animals I've never seen. I know they're in there, but you just don't see them because their cages or their runs are overgrown, and like this, you just don't see them. I mean, look at that. There you go. There's an animal, but you didn't see it. It was crawling around in the undergrowth, and then suddenly it appears. And it moonwalks, because, you know, that's what jaguars do. Did you not know that? Actually, Michael Jackson owned a jaguar, I think. I'm pretty sure he had a jaguar and a chimpanzee. So maybe all jaguars can moonwalk as a tribute to the great man. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, what I've also discovered, I put these trees in. These, no, what are these trees called? The Cecropia tree? Yeah, let's go with that. And I noticed their movement. If you look at them, they kind of wobble up and down, which is a bit odd because that isn't really how trees would move. They sway from side to side. But it occurred to me that actually that would be perfect for over here. So what I've done, I've sunk a load of them into this rock formation, and the wobbling I think works because it kind of looks like the water is making them move up and down as the water flows through them and around them. And having them sunk in, it looks really random, and you just end up with all these little branches and leaves everywhere. And I think it's absolutely perfect for what I wanted on here. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Oh, excuse me. Let me know. I think it looks really cool. Still more to do on here, of course, but that's sort of the start. And I don't even mind that some of the branches come down here. I mean, you can see there's lots of bits of tree now in this cave, but I'm okay with it because it looks okay. It looks good. The jaguars still come in here. It just looks like a nice overgrown cave, and even, you know, it's a bit daft that you've got all the greenery inside the cave, but I don't care. It looks cool. You know, this park isn't about realism necessarily, so I don't mind it. And I think the cave entrance here looks very nice. I like having this branch here and then a few down here as well, and the water still cascading down. So yeah, I'm really happy with that discovery there. And as you can see, our jaguars don't mind it. They still come and go through the water, navigating through the branches. There you go. Look, shook the water off. You see, that's a nice little touch, isn't it? I like that. And then they'll curl up for their sleep. Yeah, love it. Brilliant. So that's worked really good. So this is coming along very nicely. I think if you look at it from the air now, you'll see the effect that I'm going for. So it is jungly, it's overgrown, but you can, you know, there's still some open bits. When they're swimming in the water, you can see them here. You can see them getting around under here, and I've purposely left some little pathways open for them. Obviously here where you've got the river crossing, just little pathways where it's obvious where they walk. So yeah, it's coming along very nicely. I'm very happy with it so far, but there is still a lot more to do. So I'm going to go away once more and do some more, and I'll be right back. Right, yeah, so I've done a bit more. I filled in this area over here. I've tried to keep it fairly low so that when you're walking along the walkway over here, you still get a good view all the way through. You can obviously see the ground here. I've sunk a lot of these panels again into the ground to make it look sort of mossy. I didn't like the plain texture, so I've done that wherever there's open areas all along here as well, and under here and over here. You see I've just sunk this stuff in. It just makes the ground look a bit more jungly as opposed to the basic grass or the mud look. I didn't like that. I love this being sunk in. It's just a nice texture. So yeah, really happy with how that looks. So yeah, so I've kept it relatively open, you know, not completely. See there's a jaguar just getting through the undergrowth there. There we go. You see, so this is what I wanted. So if you're standing up here, you just get these glimpses of them, because that's exactly what it is in real life. You rarely see these creatures just lying out in the open. Yeah, at least having a bit of a scratch there. Oh, look at that. Very impressive animals. Yeah, and obviously I have also just put some more enrichment items around as well, just to keep them happy. Yeah, so it's coming along well. I mean, I'm nearly done, to be honest, with this habitat now. There's not really too much more. I've got a few ideas, just a few little details that I want to add. So nothing too major. I have just started doing a bit of decorating on here as well. So I put one of these, the mangrove trees on there. Oh, excuse me, while my computer freezes. And another one over here as well. I thought they looked cool. And just started the idea of just dotting some of these other plants onto the rocks here. So this will eventually get all sorts of things planted all over it. I don't want it to be too crowded, but I do want a few more varieties of plants growing on here. And I'm also still debating about how much I want to cover this barrier at the side here and here as well. So let me just debate that with myself a little bit more, and I will come back in just a second and let you know what I decided. Well, you'll see a few changes that I've made. So I did do a bit more foliage around these side areas here, not too much, and I have left the water bit fairly open as well. Yeah, I don't know why I decided not to completely cover it up. It just doesn't quite feel like it needs it. So the main detail that I've done, I found these heads. Look at these things, these statues, absolutely fantastic. So I've got one there and I have one lying down here, and as you'll see, I've added some mist machines because it just looks fantastic, doesn't it? This mist is just awesome. It blends with the look of the water and the statues here, and it's exactly what I needed for the look of this area. I wanted all of this. I wanted it to look overgrown and jungly, and this mist really finishes it off. I mean, having the statue there with the mist just sort of hanging around it. It's kind of a shame that it disappears when you zoom in like this, but I think I just love it. I just think it looks great. And when you get the jaguars out in the water here, swimming through the mist, it does look very cool. I've also put some of these machines through the river here as well. Again, I mean, it just looks cool, doesn't it? Maybe that's just me, but I really like it. So that continues, and then there's another one over on this side as well. And I think it just adds the final finishing touch to the idea of it being a jungle, really. And then I've also just done a bit of planting up on the rocks here. You see some ferns, a tree fern or two as well. So not too much, just just dotted around a few pieces here and there. These tree ferns are fantastic. They just lovely looking architectural plants. So just a few of them dotted around. Yeah, and then again over this side, much like the other side, just covering up this fence a little bit, but not trying to completely block the view from one to the other. In real life, I'm not too sure what they would do, whether the animals would be side by side and be happy about that or not. I think probably not. I think you'd probably have to have this as a solid barrier so the jaguars couldn't see whatever was next door. I guess it depends what's next door, but I think realistically you wouldn't have it so they could see each other. But this is a computer game, and you do what you think looks good. Ultimately, that's why I play this game, is to make it look good. And I have to say, I think this looks really good. It's turned out exactly how I wanted. Really overgrown, really jungly, but realistic, and there's enough open space and areas like this where you can see the animals, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be able to stand here, see the animals, but also be able to look through the undergrowth and try and spot the animals as well. In fact, what I may do, and I know it's not what the game would want me to do, at the moment I have 2 jaguars in here. I may add 2 more. I think just to give you that extra chance of actually finding them, because they do spend a lot of the time just sleeping in the cave, which is no good. I want more of them over here, roaming around in the undergrowth. So yeah, so just for the sake of the look of the game, I think I may well add a couple more in, and I'll probably do similar things with the other animals in here as well, because it's quite jungly and overgrown, and it's not going to be that obvious where the animals are necessarily. I may make the group slightly larger than the game thinks they ought to be. So there may be 4 tapirs, maybe 4 giant anteaters, and then the dwarf caiman, because they really are very small, I may end up with sort of 15 or even 20 of them possibly in this enclosure here. We'll just see what's appropriate at the time, I guess. So yeah, there we go. So that is going to be the end of this video, because I think this has been quite a long one, but as you can see, I've done a lot. I feel like I've really achieved quite a lot so far with this area. So this is just the start, because we still have 3 more enclosures to do. We obviously have an entrance to build here, so I'll be making some sort of an entrance arch, like a sign similar to this Australia one. Here obviously a different design, and it will say South America probably. Got backstage building here, and I think there's probably going to be another one over in this corner here, excuse me, somewhere over here. And I've also got a bit of an idea, because obviously this pathway is the barrier essentially to this area, which will be Africa, and then this one which will be aquatic, and this one which will be Arctic. So I want to create some kind of a barrier along here, probably a natural barrier, lots of this jungle theme continuing on the other side of the path as a backdrop to it. And that will also happen along this edge of the zoo over this side as well. I will make this really nice and overgrown, so the whole area will be encased in jungle basically. That's the plan. I've also got a few ideas of the actual pathway. I've got a bit of a canopy that I might want to design along there. So yeah, so I've still got lots of ideas, lots to do. So it's gonna be quite a large project. Might stretch to maybe another 2 episodes to get it all in, maybe even 3. Who knows? We'll just have to see how much I get done in what sort of time span. But for now, let's leave it there with our Jaguar enclosure. I do hope you've had fun watching me play around with my my jungle. So let's finish here with our Jaguar going in for his lunchtime siesta. So thank you very much for watching my video. I really do appreciate that you're spending a bit of time on my channel. I do hope you're enjoying it. I certainly am, and it's not going to be stopping anytime soon. I'm going to be playing this game for a long time, until Planet Zoo 2 comes out possibly. I've still got lots of ideas that I want to try out in this game. Particularly in this zoo, and don't worry, my other zoos are continuing as well. So yes, lots of good videos coming hopefully. Oh, look, he's tired. Have a nap. There you go. No, let's leave it with him, shall we? Having a snooze. Is that him or her? It's her. Right, forgive me, Uretzi. Okay, right. So thank you very much. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.